All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another WNBA offseason video. In this video, we're going to talk about the collective bargaining agreement, some brand new details that came out over the last 4 days since they agreed upon it, with the newest one being that the WNBPA ratifies the new CBA with over 90% participation and a unanimous vote to approve it. So we're going to talk about some WNBA Players Association stuff. We're going to talk about some players getting some new contracts this season or in the future. And we're going to talk about everything CBA. The last time I talked about this, we didn't really have any details. Now we have all the details. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have your own opinions, comment it down below. And if you like the vibes, consider subscribing. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. We also have some WNBA news I want to get through, just some small stuff. And then we will talk about the rest of CBA stuff. Um, Rest CBA stuff here. Let's start with this. There's gonna be a lot of reading in this video. I'll try to link this down below where I found this. I forget where I found this. I just have a screenshot of it. So we will go through this joint release statement from the WNBA and the WNBA Players Association. So key elements of the tentative collective bargaining agreement. We're gonna go through this right now. Oh, one more thing before I forget, before it gets too far away from it. This season will include a 44 game season and in the future a 50 plus game season that will start not this year in 2026 but in 2027. So that's something that I am very excited about personally. I'm very excited about any kind of basketball, especially I remember when it used to be a really short season. I was like, this season needs more. We need more women's basketball, and here we are, a 44 game season this season. And getting back to this press release by the WNBA and WNBA they're on bullet points. I'm gonna read the bullet points. I'm gonna get through probably page one and then give my thoughts, and then move on to page two, and then we're gonna do some other stuff here. There gonna be a lot of numbers as well. Some key elements of the collective bargaining agreement create a revenue-based salary cap tied to the league and team overall revenue growth. The team salary cap will be set at 7 million in 2026 and is projected to be over 11 million by 2032. Damn, that's crazy. Um, the new system results in significant player salary increase, including the maximum of $1.4 million in 2026, a projected 2.4 million by 2032. So the max, this is what you would call the max. This is the big money. This is what everybody's been wanting for the top tier player. The top tier players in front of some of them are in front of you. Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Paige, and Clark will both get there at some point. I believe after this season, Aaliyah Boston will be there as well, number 7 in the Fever jersey. And it's going to be interesting. And this is something, and the numbers, well, let's get through the numbers first here. The average salary will be around $583,000 in 2026 and projected to be over a million by 2032. So the middle, the average, we'll say that like basic like role players and stuff, key starters will get $1 million by 2032, and the minimum is $270,000 to $300,000 in that range in 2026. And based on years of service, is the how you get from 2.7 to 300,000, and then 340 to 380,000 by 2032. I'm going to talk about this a bit more in depth um, when we get to it because I do have some other thoughts, but it's going to be interesting to see what teams overpay for what players don't get the max, what players are probably worth the max, but they're going to hold off on it and say, hey, let me take a little bit of a pay cut so we can retain a roster that we have, pay the other players on the team, and let's go compete for a championship again. Try to dethrone the Aces as the best team in the league. I believe. Yeah, we don't know the rosters, but with a huge asterisk, right? The Aces are the best team in the league, right? We'll put it that way. They're the reigning champs, so they get that designation right now. So we'll see who gets paid and who doesn't. I have a lot of thoughts about that. And then the last thing on salaries here, rookie scale contracts will also increase significantly. All existing rookie deals, 38 players, will be adjusted to align with the new salary scale. Now, from what I understand, those rookies that are on rookie contract, which is Paige and Caitlin, I think Aaliyah Boston as well is still on that rookie deal. This year will be the last year of that deal, and then it will convert next year. So this will be the last year of that deal for them. Under the old CBA, now with the new CBA, I think they're gonna, from my understanding, from what I've read, it's gonna be this year is the last year of it, and then they will be next year. At least that's how I looked at it when I was on Spot Track the other day, and it had it lined up like that. Um, Player benefits and league standards. League will provide housing. It will be available for all players in 2026, 27, and 2028. For players making 500,000 or less in 2029, 2030, new developmental players will get provided housing every year. So it's a 12-player roster now, and you will get two players that will be designated as developmental players, and they will get housing every year. I don't know when you stop being a developmental player. I don't know if there's a certain threshold you need to meet, like you get a certain amount of minutes, get a certain accolade, get accolades period, that you are no longer a developmental player. We'll see how that works. League-wide charter air travel representing the projections of investment of more than $300 million over the life of the agreement. So that was pretty. That was something that was pretty basic and pretty standard that these ladies wanted. That some owners got in trouble for a couple years ago because the owner was richer than all the other owners, and he was like, why are we flying commercial? Just use the private jet or a charter jet, you know." And they got fined for that. And now every team will have that resource available to them. Um, Expand staffing requirements, including additional access to physicians, athletic trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, physical massage therapists, and nutritionists. I hope that includes mental health therapists as well, because that's very important. Um, blah, 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 blah. Enhanced life insurance benefits totaling more than $700,000 per player. That was also something that players really wanted. Not necessarily the life insurance, but the insurance covering some more stuff that wasn't included in the last CBA, where they couldn't really hand out, stuff like that because the money wasn't there. Now the money's there, they can do that stuff. Um, Moving on to the other page here in a second, I want to get my thoughts out about this first page here. Um, the rookie contract being higher is good. I don't know if they say it in here. I don't know if they got rid of the core. Um, oh, okay, so yeah. Here, I'll read this here on the second page and then I'll get back to my thought. In 2027, players with 7 or more years of service cannot be designated as core. So core is still a function of a contract or of a team retaining a player. Um, I was trying to remember what my analogy was, and core in the WNBA is essentially like when you franchise tag a player in the NFL if you know the NFL more than the WNBA. But I expect if you're watching this video, you know what the WNBA is and what goes on. But that's essentially what it is. It's a 1 year sort of holdover deal um, versus the player going to free agency. I can hold you for 1 more year. Maybe we can work out a deal. Maybe we can work out a trade, and it's beneficial for both of us. Um, in good faith. Some GMs don't operate under that good faith. Some others do, but that's what the core designation is. And I wonder, I forgot what my question was, but I was wondering, is core still a main function of a contract? Because once these players come off rookie deals, right, and they actually become full, we'll call them professionals, but they already are professionals. You know what I mean? Like they're veterans in this league at that point. You've been in the league for 4 or 5 years. I wonder how long can I if I have a rookie on a 5 year deal, right? Technically, I think that's how it used to work. 5 year deal or 4 year deal. On that fifth year, can I core them still, or do I does that just not exist anymore? Because the it says what 6 or 7, right? That's what it said. I believe that's what it said. Yeah, 6 or 7 years. So you would have to wait. Yeah, 3 more years. I guess. Either you pay them or you lose them. I guess that's how it's gonna work now. Like every other league. It's good for them. The other thought I had here was um, again, what what players are worth a max? And this is something that's come up. I've seen on a lot of forums that what players are worth a max even, because you have some of these players going online and saying, we're going to be millionaires. Some of these players that are role players, you're probably going to, if you really want to, you probably can get overpaid. If you're just a role player, I would supremely suggest signing a long-term deal with long-term security versus going for like a big payday on a short-term deal. That's what I would recommend. That's what I've always recommended. And we're going to see a lot of players who are going to move out of their situations that they've been in for a long time for a payday. I don't think any of the players in front of you that will happen, but some of the players on the screen in front of you, their teammates might do that, and we might see some different variations of teams and different versions of teams coming up here this next season. Also, they have expanded health coverage, and then we get to performance bonuses and rewards for sustained increase in bonus compensation included for 2026. So this starts next year. Um, go through some of these. WNBA champion, $60,000 per player, up from 22,000. WNBA champion runner up, 20,000. So just as a runner up, you do get a prize anyway. You get 20 G's, and you get a pat on the back, and you get a said, "Good job, you tried your best." I'm kidding. I just think that's kind of funny. Eliminated from the second round, 10,000. First round, 5,000. WNBA first team 30,000, second team 15,000, all defensive first team 15,000, all defensive second team 7,000, all rookie team 5,000, most valuable player 60,000. That's a lot of money if you're the best player in the league. Number 22 in the red jersey. Defensive player of the year 30,000. Rookie of the year 15,000, sixth player of the year 15,000, most improved 15,000, sportsmanship reward 10,000. If you're just a good person, just like okay, like and you're not like a hothead, you get $10,000 if you win the sportsmanship award. Um, WNBA finals most valuable player 30,000. I feel like that should be like 70,000. If you're the best player on the championship team, that should be so much more. Um, Commissioner Cup most valuable player 10,000. All-Star Game most valuable player 20,000. Participation in the All-Star Game 15,000. Three-point contest winner 20,000. Three-point participant 10,000. Skills champ competition winner 15,000, and um, All-Star skills competition participant 7,000. Beginning in 2027, all these amounts will grow at a rate with the salary cap. So yeah, this is a lot of money, duh, but this is a lot of it's a lot of stuff. If you're a good player, you're gonna compensate very well, and I wonder with all this stuff, right? I wonder if players, if they know they're good, right, and you're a healthy player, you're a healthy player, right? Would you sit back and say, hey, if we can do the math here, I can take maybe like let's say like you're a lock essentially for like defensive first team or defensive second team. You can take like a $20,000 cut, right, off the top and say, hey, instead of making what was it, the mid scale contract, instead of making 580, I'm making 560, and then we get it down to 500, and then there's $80,000 on the table for the team to work with, and do that for every other player. Let's say on a 12-person team, that's six people taking a little bit of a pay cut, because those six players are really good, and they're gonna get one of these at least. Um, you say, hey, we got some more money to work with. You're still getting paid. I'm getting some wiggle room as a GM with my contracts and signing people. I wonder if that's going to happen, or if players are going to be like, hell no, we just want the money right now. I could get injured and not make the team or whatever, not make defensive team or all WNBA team, whatever, whatever. I wonder what's going to happen. And the last thing here, roster construction and free agency. Now, this is something I'm really big on, is roster construction and not so much free agency. Obviously, free agency is a very fun time in any sport, but for me, roster construction is something I feel like I strive in. I am a pretty good um, GM, fake GM, internet GM, as some would say. I like to think I can build some pretty good teams, and we will be doing that at some point in the next couple weeks. And be talking about uh, what would be a dream off season for X WNBA team, Y WNBA team. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming very soon. But on to this last segment of the joint statement. Roster construction and free agency requires every team to carry 12 players on their roster, creates two new additional developmental player roster spots that do not count against the team's salary cap. So, that's interesting. Do not count against the. So, again, I wonder what would. I guess what would deem a developmental player is somebody who's like maybe 4 years under in their career timeline, hasn't had a lot of playing time, hasn't doesn't have any major awards. I guess that's what would qualify as developmental player because they're still developing. Now, when do you get rid of that designation? I don't know. Um, Starting in 2027, players with we read that one. Accelerated pathways to maximum contracts for star players on rookie deals. Now, this is where it gets a little spooky. And I know the salary cap's gonna keep going up and keep going up as long as the league keeps doing well and the players keep performing. And it's a joint, it's a group project that they're all working on to make this league as profitable as it can for both the players, the owners, the WNBA itself, and to bring the best product to the fans. The only thing, the accelerated pathway to maximum contracts. I wonder in the next, we'll say the end of this decade, right? 4 years, right? Well, 4 years, yeah, 4 years, yeah, 4 years. How many players are gonna get fast tracked to a max contract, and they just flare out? This is something else I wonder. What's like you pay somebody too early, like, and these women deserve to be paid. I'm not saying that I don't deserve to be paid, but this happens in all sports where somebody starts off their career really hot, and then by the time they get to like the third, fourth year, they start like, oh, they're not putting in the work. That maybe the environment isn't right for them, and you paid them too early. It's like, I don't know. There are gonna be some players, some that get overpaid, and it's going to be the cruel reality of this, and it's the reality of sports. And it's good that the WNBA is on this level now, where we're going to have to look at some of these players and be like, you are not worth that money. Hell no. The GM that gives you that contract is an idiot. And it's going to be fun to do that, at least for me. Um, New season-ending injury exceptions will allow teams additional salary cap flexibility to replace injured players. This is already in the NBA. It has worked out beautifully. Some players have even gotten paid off just like 20 games of basketball at the end of the season when the star player is injured, and they get a nice little contract, a nice 2-3 year contract, and get to stay in the WNBA. Um, Teams must obtain a player's consent before trading a pregnant player. This is something that I'll hold my hand up because I'm a proud Aces fan. That the Aces did or they tried to do. One of their players got pregnant, and they're like, you know what? We'll compete for a championship. We can't afford to have you on our books and not play. Bye. And they did that. And I think they settled outside of court. That's still a very shitty thing to do. And it's a ruthless business tactic. I'm not justifying it. It's just kind of interesting that this had to be like stated in the agreement that we no longer can operate under good faith that, hey, just don't mess with somebody on maternity leave. Let them be. Doesn't matter. At the same time, it's like, eh. And pregnancy and childbirth salary cap exception. So they also included a salary cap exception for said player that is out. So whatever the player is making that year, it won't count against the cap for that year. So yeah, that is the joint statement from the WNBA and the WNBPA about the new stuff in the collective bargaining agreement. Moving into some stuff here. Yeah, 52 game schedule. Oh, also, I had read that this is a seven. This is a technically a 6 year deal, the CBA, with a opt out in the seventh year if there's something they want to change or whatever. Usually, an opt out, which they probably will opt out, is just to tweak some things and then maybe just start talking about the next CBA, which I'm not going to get into right now. But getting into some max stuff here. Um, The Las Vegas Aces, my Las Vegas Aces, plan to sign Asia Wilson to a 1.4 Supermax contract when they are available to. That is the player on your left. I'm looking at her jersey right now on my wall. Salt to the earth. Love Asia Wilson. Um, Her boyfriend, Bam Adebayo, just scored 80 points in the game not too long ago. So it's a good time to be the Wilson and Adebayo family. um, Personally, I love this for Asia. Asia, I don't care what anybody says. And I think one of these statements is completely true and nobody can deny is the best player in the league. Asia Wilson is unanimously the best player in the league. There's nobody better than her. There's nobody that raises your floor and ceiling as a player right now. Um, she's absolutely the best. She's absolutely deserving of this contract. I would not be surprised as an owner. I'll say this like if I was an owner, I'd be like, hey, you get this like $1.4 million. You get an extra like 400,000 on the side. Give you a little something for your years of service. As that's what happens. And I think that's what happens. Underneath the table that nobody wants to talk about, but that's very common. And I think Asia's deserving of whatever she wants in Las Vegas as the best player in the league right now, gaining popularity across the board, has her own signature shoe, um, is an amazing, I won't say ambassador for the game, but like just leading by example, leading by like hard work and determination and all that stuff. And dare I say, I've said it in some other videos, is Asia Wilson the best WNBA player ever? I think she's the best, personally, she's the best WNBA player I've seen with my own two eyes. Like that I've seen. I watched the end of Diana Taurasi's career, the end of Sue Bird's career, the end of Maya Moore's career, end of Candace Parker's career. Um, I've seen all types of great players in my lifetime, and some of them not in their prime, some of them towards the end of their prime, some of them completely washed and out of their prime, but still having that aura about them. I think Asia Wilson is the best player, and she's deserving of this and so much more. Um, as will, hopefully some of these other players in front of you in the future. They will be at some point maybe the best player in the league, or at least maybe a runner-up as well. Moving, moving. We're moving today. I'm saying moving a lot. I apologize. I'm just trying to get through all this stuff. Um, let's get into teams in the WNBA with Supermax players on their roster right now that they can give that contract to. Or at least they're on the team on a contract right now that when it ends they can offer them the supermax. That might be this year or 2 years from now or 3 years from now. Just make that very clear. So this isn't all happening next year or this year, but it could happen next year, or the year after that. Um, we'll start with the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. I want to give my take on these a little bit on who I would give a supermax or max even to on these teams if I was the GM. Caitlin Clark, I tentatively say yes, but girl, you got to give me a full healthy season. Put 2 seasons back to back that you're fully healthy and it isn't like a freak injury. You'll get the Superman. I'll guarantee it right now. Kelsey Mitchell, I like Kelsey Mitchell a lot on this Fever team. She did a lot of great stuff in their playoff run, unexpected playoff run last year. I just don't know if I'm convinced her and Caitlyn are a long term backcourt that can win a championship. I'm just not convinced about it yet. And then Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston's continued to get better. The 1.4 that you could give her with even the just the regular max is gonna look like peanuts to what it could be if you just held off on it and waited an additional 4 years where it could go up to a ballooning number. Um, the Las Vegas Aces, my Las Vegas Aces, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray. Asia Wilson, obviously, I did that whole speech about her. She gets it. Chelsea Gray, a little bit older, um, continuing to defy aging. And I thought she was washed last year, and she came out and played a little bit better and played really well in the finals. Played very well in Unrivaled. I would sit Chelsea Gray down and say, hey, could we just wait? Like, I know you probably don't want a handshake promise that I will give you the contract eventually, but or at least, hey, let me front load it for you. So at the end of the deal, we're not paying you this crazy amount of money. I would rather pay you right now and front load the contract versus backloading the contract. If you can let me front load it and you want your money right now, I can give you right now. But at the end of the contract, it's going to start going down. That's the only way I would give it to Chelsea Gray. Moving on to the New York Liberty, uh, Brianna Stewart. Same thing with like Brianna Stewart as it is Caitlin Clark. You need to show me you can put in a couple healthy seasons. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but Brianna Stewart isn't moving like she used to. She's still very good defensively, very up and down offensively now. Her 3 point shot has fallen off a cliff. I'm not giving you this money unless you show me you can be healthy and you show me you can consistently hit a three again, because it was a career worst for her last year shooting. And I know she played a limited amount of games, but she was still taking a lot of them. And this league is moving more towards um, a quote unquote men's style of basketball where we're gonna have to shoot a lot of threes. I can't have Sabrina being the only one out there shooting threes. I can't have just John Quill Jones, who's equally as inconsistent as Brianna Stewart, and I can't have Natasha Cloud out there who really doesn't take threes. I can't have all four of those people on the same roster. So you need to show me you can hit a three, or you at least have to promise me, hey, I'm gonna keep working on the three. It's gonna come back. You have to promise me that. Maybe that's just me being nice to her and saying, hey, if you at least promise me, if you show me you're putting the work, I'll give you the contract. Sabrina obviously deserving. Been New York, the longest tenured player there, obviously deserves it. And then John Quill Jones. I don't know if you can give John Quill Jones a supermax contract if you have Sabrina and Brianna Stewart on a max and supermax. I just don't know if it's possible. Um, if you give those three, you better be very confident in those three that they're gonna be back at winning championships because they only have one. They have a new head coach. I don't know. Um, Next one, Nafisa Collier, top right of your screen, number 24. This is another one where the injuries and something that I think a lot of people are like that's flying under the radar very conveniently is that Nafisa Collier just had double ankle surgery maybe like a month ago, month and a half ago. That does not inspire me to give you a max contract. Or I shouldn't say I'll give you a max. I'm not giving you a super max though. I can't in good faith give you that money unless you come back 100% of yourself. Because double ankle surgery is no joke. It is no joke. No joke at all. Um, so we'll see. That one's TBD to be determined. Ryan Howard, totally. Give her the Supermax. Totally. Paige Beckers, show me you can make it to the playoffs. Show me you can show me you can be a legit MVP candidate and you'll get the contract for sure. Moving on here to some other teams. Um, Chicago Sky, Angel Reese. I think at that point you just have to. You just have to kind of do it. You just have to give her the max because she's your only hope at being relevant or getting more free agents. The Connecticut Sun have none. Kelsey Plum, Plum Dog, my girl, the woman who got me into the WNBA in the first place. Speaking non-biasedly, hopefully. She just had a great unrivaled season. She had a pretty okay first season with the Sparks. She's okayish, youngish. Like she's old enough to be a vet. Do I want to give her that kind of money when I have Ray Burrell, when I have Rickea Jackson, when I have uh, Cameron Brink? I think I'd do the same thing I would do with Chelsea Gray. Is that I'm going to front load this deal. I'm going to give you all your money right now. At the end of the deal, I want to be able to have some flexibility. I want to be able to trade you again. I want to be able to move you. Because you're not really on the timeline of these players that we already have, but you're sort of the adult in the room, so I'm going to have to reward you for that. Moving on, the Valkyries have none because they literally just started existing last year. The Mystics, none. If I had to guess, they'll probably give it to Kiki Arifin, at least a max, and then whatever rookie they get this year. probably around that range. Um, the Mercury, Kalia Copper, Alyssa Thomas. They're playing a preseason game. The Mercury are playing in South Dakota. Very interesting location, but okay. Um, Let me tell you something. You're gonna find this out very quickly if you stay tuned here on this channel for the WNBA season. I am a Alyssa Thomas denier. I think she's just the WNBA's Draymond Green, and you can't build a team around her. I saw it in the finals this past year. It was awful when she was on the court. She did like maybe 40% good things, and then the other percent was all terrible, was all bad. Respectfully, um, this is probably not what's gonna happen. Respectfully, no. This is my first real no. I'm not giving you this money. Not doing it. I've heard great things. She's great in the community. She's great with the fans. Yada yada yada. I, I I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you 1.4 million just to be a good person. And I guess she's at the end of her prime. Just reward her. Blah blah blah. I'm not giving you that money. I can't in good conscience do that. I can't. I'd rather give Kalia Copper a super max or a max. I'd rather give Satu Sabali a max or super max. Even though I feel very similar about Satu, at least Satu's younger and we have more runway to get better as a team. You know. Now, if you get rid of Alyssa Thomas, does that close your championship window? Does Kalia Copper want to stay? Does she go? I know you're just stuck with Satu on a max contract. These are questions I don't have the answer to right now. But I would sort of, and Satu wants to compete as well, so maybe she just wants the contract. Who knows? You could buy somebody off and be like, hey, we're gonna suck, but here's a supermax contract, $1.4 million, money you've never seen in your life. Maybe. Um, Toronto Tempo coming into the league this year. They have no players for the supermax or max. Portland Fire, same deal, and then the last one here. The Seattle Storm, Skylar Diggins, and Nneka Ogwumike. Um, I think they're deep enough into their rebuild, or early enough in their rebuild, to where you give them the max contract now. By the end of it, they're not going to be on the team anymore. So just do it and stay competitive at least a little bit, and then bring up Dominique Malanga, bring up the other rookie you're going to bring in this year, and the contracts will be done by the time they're really good. Those players. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the players in that are available for max, super max contracts. What other stuff we got here? Um, Looking through some other stuff. Oh, okay. So here's an example of players that would be eligible for a super max if they hit certain achievements. Caitlin Clark would become Supermax eligible in 2027 if she wins MVP this season. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Aaliyah Boston is a max eligible this offseason, and Paige Beckers is max eligible in 2028. All via all WNBA second team nods. So I guess if they get second or first team, they would be eligible completely for that. And then some other things here. Um, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that. Yeah, I think that's it. The last thing I do want to talk about here that could affect what's coming up next month in April, the expansion draft and what could affect this person's career as a whole in the future. I don't know if it will, but this is just something to keep in mind. Uh, Arike Ogumawale, who won the Unrivaled Championship along with her team, the Mist, uh, was at a club celebrating and she got into a scuffle with a security guard. It's a whole big story. I'm not going to get into it. If you want to look it up, you can look it up. Arike Ogumawale club incident, if you want to look it up. But her team, the Dallas Wings, released the statement. The Wings are aware of an incident involving Arike and are in the process of gathering more information. Further comments will be provided once we have more details. This very well could affect. I don't know if it will. It probably won't. Could affect her getting a long-term contract could affect her being in Dallas. She might not be protected in the expansion draft, so she might be on an expansion team next year. Who knows? Um, from what I've heard and the resources that I've seen and the articles I've read, this is kind of a misunderstanding. It's just kind of like I accidentally threw a punch and I hit somebody, and this person was trying to stop me from throwing the punch, so they got punched instead. Yada yada yada. Everybody's at a club. You're having a little too much fun. Rah rah rah. There was no real like violence or anything. It was kind of just a misunderstanding, and it's unfortunate that it happened. This happened well over a month ago at this point. I just wanted to put it out here because we are getting towards WNBA season and WNBA expansion draft stuff. So I just want to put it on the table and keep you guys informed. And I believe that is it. That is it for this video. Yeah, the outro should be playing right now. Um, Check out the video on the left, right where Asia is, right there. If you want to click on it. What video should it be? I guess it could be any video, a WNBA related video. You can also check out my Road to the 2026 WNBA draft on the right, the playlist. It's right here, right where Caitlin Clark and Afisa Collier, right around that area. You can click on that. It's a full playlist of my draft prospects I want to talk about. And the last one just went up. It was about Awa Fam. Check that out as well. It's in the playlist. Watch all of them, and then you'll get to Awa, which is the last one. And yeah, if you see my little icon in the middle right there, right there, my little icon, if you click on that, a little subscribe button will pop up, and you can click that to subscribe very easily. And lastly here, I want to thank my 12th subscriber. I saw you subscribe this weekend. Shout out to you. Thank you for joining the ride, and I hope I provide content that you like and everybody else likes. And if we could get to 20 subscribers this year, that would be freaking awesome. So thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.